Welcome to Cold Hard Trash CRT episode 27. I'm your host, Trash Can Jones.
And I'm Brig, your other host.
And this is the first episode after the holidays to date it. It's the day after Thanksgiving. So I am in a tizzy with my notes because I don't remember where I put them at all. And also, there's 6 new holes in my wall.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Oh, there we go. So, I brought up before the idea of making fake advertisements, right? Just taking an actual company, trying to make like a really high production ad, and then just doing it. Because like they're not gonna be like sue you like, hey, stop defaming our name or stop using our name, because it's good. They like that. So, I'm thinking a comedy aspect to it. If we did want to go to the parody route, is that we can make the really high-profile ad that looks like it's almost a Walmart ad or a McDonald's ad, and then we can make the slogan whatever we want. Right? So we could do like this whole big thing where it's like, this guy who starts his morning every day with the McDonald's coffee, and he's like, I can't get right, in the morning, the stresses of my life, they all float away when I'm going through that drive-thru, and I get McDonald's black coffee, $2.99. McDonald's, eat fresh.
They might have an issue. I don't think McDonald's is going to be the one with an issue in that case.
See, at that point, we could start pitting them against each other, though. So then they'll be like, oh, is this some Subway agent who is trying to, like, usurp us? Or is this just, it's just us playing a gag? But we can start some infighting.
So I will say, since that conversation that we had, I ended up finding some stuff on TikTok. People already do that.
Wait, really?
Yeah. What they'll do is they'll get, like, a product and they'll make a fake commercial for it, but half of what they're doing is showcasing techniques in how they put together a commercial like this. So they'll get like a bottle of Jack Daniels and they'll show that they are capable of like, the ads where it's just sort of like something in black space, and it's like you have the shot glass and then you like pour the Jack Daniels into it and it like splashes out.
Right,
it's
it's all in slow-mo and the zoom and everything. So
yes.
They're just like putting like an application almost out there, resume.
Yeah. I think I mentioned it before that people would do this with like small businesses and stuff, but I have seen it now where people will just go out, buy a product, and then make a fake commercial for said product and just sort of be like, hey, like this is how I do the thing.
Yeah. Other companies, beware. Maybe you want to hire.
Yeah. Beware.
Beware, I'm out there.
Yeah.
I might be coming up for your...
If you don't hire me, that's when I put Jack Daniels Eat Fresh.
Jack Daniels Eat Fresh. There's just so much good comedy that can come through it. Like, they have so many, like, serious commercials, like Men's Warehouse that are, the guys all getting together with the suits, and it's like the low-droning guy, like, Men's Warehouse, Eat Fresh. And it's just like, wait, what? Like, the whole commercial was not that. I feel like there's a lot of good comedy bits you can pull up with that. Mm-hmm. Not just Eat Fresh. Eat Fresh has me giggling a lot, because if that was just everybody's like just tried to take that, like I just had a thought of the Winnie the Pooh style, like that went up to the free market, so then everybody just started taking Eat Fresh.
I think also now like Eat Fresh is sort of like a funny thing for Subway to say, right?
Well, they have
all people, like they have like bread that's supposed to last like 4 months open.
Well, they were supposed to be, especially compared to like the greasy fast foods, the fresh option, the healthy.
That
like, one unnamed
eat vegetables, maybe. Like
there's vegetables in the sandwich, man. That's what they're saying.
That's different than eating fresh. A fresh cooked burger versus like bread that's been sitting there for 4 months. Because Subway, at least in like maybe like 4 years ago, was the most franchised fast food joint. That's where you'd find like a Subway, and then just down the block there's another Subway.
Right.
You find Subways at like gas stations all the way out in the boonies.
Right, because each like you say, it's a franchise. So there's different Subways that are good for different reasons. Like the Subway right around here, that's not too far. They actually have like the fresh baked bread in store, fresh sliced meats they have like up in the counter, and then it's actually like a better, higher quality Subway. It's not one of the ones you get where you can take a picture. It's like, look at what Subway did serve me today. Some bullshit.
Yeah, but still, it's like they don't really have like guarantees of freshness.
No,
that's not their whole shtick.
They can though. Their higher echelon is a guarantee of freshness. It's a potential
Subway,
of freshness.
You might get something fresh.
Subway might fresh.
Yes. Then we also talk about the that old, like, you know, the Subway tuna doesn't include tuna DNA thing.
Oh, really? Doesn't include, like, was it enough tuna to count as tuna because they use, like, tuna scraps?
No, what you might be thinking of is how Taco Bell beef used to not have enough beef in it to be called beef.
The B33F era.
Yep. So, yeah, it's that. But no, this is like, this isn't, like, actually a big deal for Subway. Like, they just put a sticker out that was like, yes, it's real tuna, and that was it. They just put a sticker on the front of the thing. And, like, a QR code. Like, if you want to read more, feel free. But the thing about not having DNA in the tuna is that one good thing to, you know, get rid of DNA is to cook it.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, you're denaturing, like, DNA in that process. Like, you might still find some, you might not. But, like, that's a pretty good way to get rid of DNA. Heat. You know, break it apart, at least make it unrecognizable as what it originally is.
So it was some nonsense then. Of course it didn't have DNA. It's cooked
Yeah,
tuna.
and I hate siding with the corporation, but it's just like, yeah, I mean, they were just sort of trying to stir up a ruckus and get some money out of it. So,
Speaking of siding with the corporation, you familiar with the infamous McDonald's hot coffee thing, where most people kind of think to, oh yeah, it's the dumb thing, like the corporation, of course you shouldn't have got, they got sued.
I do know about that. I actually, when I was very young, this was like I think a Thanksgiving with some like nearby family friends or some type of holiday. It was cold out. And we stopped at McDonald's for something like much earlier in the day. And I got hot chocolate and I sipped it and I did burn my tongue and I did spit it out and it fell into my lap and burned me.
No.
It said caution hot on the thing though already.
You should have known.
I think this was after, like, almost certainly after the thing. I was like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think it was in like the 80s or something like that. It was pretty early.
Yeah.
But it was literally a thing of like, you know, they tried, it was the whole like mystique of, oh yeah, she's just trying to get her dime. That was like perpetuated by the corporation. She got coffee that was so hot the cup failed. Like I forget if it was the styrofoam or the plastic, but it like literally like fell out the bottom.
Oh.
And like it's just like it wasn't she was just like, oh, like a dum spilled it. Like there was no way she could have like known that. And it gave her hot enough to give her like I think 2nd-degree burns all over her like lap and genitals and stuff. She was like scarred by it, literally.
I mean, a second degree burn is probably not going to get you that money, right? I'm pretty sure it was 3rd.
Did she have 3rd-degree burns?
We should
double check that.
But, yeah. I don't know if the cup failed. Like, yeah, that's even more crazy. But I also don't think that's like a bar that you need to clear for what McDonald's was doing to be bad. Like they were keeping it like near boiling.
It was 3rd-degree burns.
Yeah, they were keeping it near boiling, as a way to keep the coffee fresh for longer. And then they would serve it to you, and
immediately.
I don't. Like I said, you know, if it burned through the cup or if the cup failed or whatever, is kind of irrelevant. Because even then, if you take that first sip, and something that hot touches your lips, you're gonna have a natural reaction to get it away from you or get it out of your mouth or whatever, and then it falls into your lap and messes you up.
Oh, and then looking up, they did find McDonald's 80% responsible. I didn't know they actually paid out. She won.
Oh, she got a ton of money.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
She only wanted medical bills paid.
Yeah.
She went for the lowest amount of money that she felt that she was entitled to.
Right.
And then the court found McDonald's liable, like, because they went on such a campaign to try and discredit her.
I was gonna say,
you cannot do that.
That's fucking awesome.
Paid damages.
Good. I'm glad that I'm sad that that's not more known about the story. The only thing that's kind of survived is like lady got burned by coffee. Duh, of course.
Oh, I learned about this like maybe 5 years ago or something like that, and so I've never heard of someone making fun of or at least not since I figured it out.
No, I've just always known that as a thing, like the coffee hot, and then it's just like the old story of like the lady that sued because she burned herself with coffee, and then it's like, well, it's the more you look into it, the more fucked up it is, and I guess the more of even though she went through some terrible ordeal, I guess she had a happy ending. That's the silver lining.
I don't know how much of a happy ending it is for her as it is a punitive ending for McDonald's in that case.
Yeah, it was the best of her bad. Right, it was the best of her bad situation.
She won at least.
Yeah,
you know,
she won in the end.
Speaking of siding with the corporations, I don't side with how Elon Musk runs Twitter.
Oh yeah, no, he's just been doing some wacko shit of just like, oh yeah, it's a free speech place, but only the free speech that I want.
He
what?
He added the word cis CIS, which you're familiar with that, right?
Right.
It's sort of like the
You identify with the
antonym
gender you're born.
Yeah, the antonym of trans.
Right.
And so he made that a word that actually gets your post like it's on some type of list where it's like you can get in trouble for using the word.
Yeah, the same would it be for like other slurs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, for starters. But being on Twitter, I ended up noticing within the past week or so a pretty, it feels almost chilling trend on there. So when he purchased Twitter, he implemented something called Twitter Blue, right? Twitter Blue allows you to get the blue check mark next to your name.
Right.
Saying it's sort of like an anti-elitist thing, because that check mark was a verification symbol.
Right,
that you
for
would
celebrities
use.
and whatnot.
Yeah, because part of the appeal of Twitter was that you can see, like, celebrities, like, posting on that social media, and you can respond directly to them, and they might even respond back.
Yeah.
But, when you give it to everyone, that sort of loses a lot of value. Some, like, pretty big names did leave, but, not everybody, obviously.
Right.
And then he made it so that if you are paying for Twitter Blue, your level of engagement on the site can be used to basically get you a cut of the ad revenue of the website. So, like, if you were posting, and you got a lot of impressions, a lot of people responding, a lot of people retweeting and stuff like that, you'd get a bi-weekly check based on those metrics.
Okay, so it's sort of just like a YouTube partner program.
Yeah, but
like
you just
ad
pay
revenue.
$8 and then you're in, and, just if you don't do that great, then you don't get money.
Yeah,
fair
so
enough.
he's basically monetarily incentivizing people to use his platform.
Monetarily incentivizing people to be controversial and inflammatory.
Yeah, because that's what gets the most like clicks and attention, rage
Yep.
baiting.
Yep. You can rage bait as a career now, which
Jeez.
is definitely bad.
Yeah.
But, like, also if you just sort of, like, post cool stuff, different, like, media, like, smaller media outlet things, like, discussing film or whatever, like, they'll, like, make posts and, people pay attention to that and they'll get a little bit of money. But the main thing that, I guess, gave me that, that what I thought was chilling, is that you'll see now posts or tweets, but he renamed them to posts because it's not Twitter anymore.
Bleh.
And then people will make jokes in the replies to that tweet, right?
Right.
And if you look closely, you'll see the blue checks are at the top. Now, that is on purpose. If you pay for blue check, you get more, your posts are pushed to the top of conversations and stuff like that.
Right.
Scroll past that, you'll see the same exact types of comments that the blue checks were making prior to when the blue check posted it, with less impressions. So,
Literally just he said my joke louder.
I think the obvious thing that's happening here is that you just sort of have like an AI bot. You pay $8 to Twitter, and you have an AI bot on Twitter, and it will, trawl through comment sections of posts, find ones that are, find responses that are doing like okay,
Right.
Decent bit of attention. People think it's funny. Copy, like take that and then just put it into an AI and just say like reword this slightly, and then repost it, and then it'll push you to the top, and then you'll get more impressions.
Yeah,
it'll
'cause
be like an
you're-
hour after the original comment.
I was gonna say it's literally just like you heard someone's joke and then you just have the opportunity to say it louder in front of people. So like yeah,
That's
terrible.
That's it, and then you get all the social capital, and in this case, capital.
right, actual money.
So that really not a big fan of. He also had this whole thing about like trying to get out of having to buy Twitter. Way back when he like made the claim that he was going to buy every single. It was like every single share in Twitter he was going to buy out for like $42 or $69 or whatever. It was a meme number that was higher, like decently higher than what it was trading at the time.
Right.
Tried to get out of that deal, saying that there were too many bots on Twitter. He was saying that he was going to remove the bots from Twitter, and it has gone absolutely like the wrong direction.
I was gonna say the opposite direction. It seems like he's only incentivizing for more bots to show up.
And there are more bots because of it. It's
Jeez.
crazy how many, like, especially like porn bots too.
Oh, bet. Yeah.
It's just insane, like how many of all these things like have gone on there and how much worse it is. So.
Yeah, never been on Twitter. Ever since it came out, I kind of recognized that it might be a little bit cancerous.
You
to my
liar! Brain. You ran the Banana Facts.
Yeah, that's true.
Twitter
I
account.
did run Banana Facts for I think all of 2 weeks before I gave it to Luis. I made 2 posts, 2 tweets.
Yep. Well, what were they like? Banana Fact number 80.
It's like 82 and 6,921 or whatever.
Bananas are not useful as a weapon, something like that.
Yeah, and it's, if you take a banana peel and stretch it each on its end, it'll reach to the moon. Something like that.
That reminds me of one of my favorite jokes, which is like, did you know that if you took your like entire intestine and stretched it across the equator of the Earth, you would die?
You will die. Yeah. You take all your blood vessels and stand them end to end, you will probably die.
But yeah, I have a Blue Sky account. I don't really use it.
That's the new Twitter alternative that's come out, right?
It's not that new anymore.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
been around for a couple of years. It's just right now it's sort of like everyone is like upset with Twitter, but like it has like people like have a history on it, and like, you know, you're not really going to guarantee that you're going to get as much engagement, even if you aren't doing it for money. Just straight up engagement, you know, running your
Right.
business, getting it in front of people's eyes. You're not going to get it as much on Blue Sky because they have to start from the ground up, like 2 years ago, 1 year ago, however long ago. When you sort of have your platform right there.
Right.
If you want people to read what you say, like one the bigger audience already on it is gonna be better for that.
Right, yeah. I was going to say, there's just not, as much as it might be a better alternative, it's not like you can make everybody switch all at once. So it's like, you're kind of stuck.
Are you also familiar with the Twitter account Drill?
I don't believe so, no. Drill?
It's Drill, DRIL. It has it's Drill. His @ is Wint, and his profile picture is like, who's the guy that plays the dad in The Shining?
The dad, Jack Nicholson?
Jack Nicholson. I was gonna say Hugh Jackman, but
Well,
I knew that was wrong.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson, a really blurry picture of him smirking and having a cigarette in his mouth.
All right.
His tweets are, he's one of them, some might refer to as like a modern day oracle.
Nostradamus type guy?
He'll make a tweet about something and it's just like some ridiculous premise or whatever, and then like 2 years later, someone actually does that in real life.
Yeah, it's blind squirrel though. Just chew out a bunch of random shit. How many of them are wrong?
Yeah, like I don't consider him to be an actual oracle, but the way that his posts sort of like come about and are proliferated when something happens, you know, it's just sort of like how it ends up being treated. I think it's funny. One of his classic ones is like, you know, someone please help me with my budget, and it's like, you know, rent 800, electricity like 45, food like 150, decorative candles $8,000. Please help me. My family is starving and I don't know what to do. Which that'll commonly get posted under anyone complaining about like something being too expensive, and what they're doing is they're buying something incredibly expensive.
Right, yeah. I can't believe this is so expensive as I buy it.
Yeah.
And for like put it on my YouTube channel.
But he had a whole tiff with Elon Musk, you know, much earlier into Musk's purchasing of the thing. When he announced Twitter Blue, he was trying to get people on it. Drill wasn't going to do it. He didn't feel the need to. And a lot of people kind of just don't do things out of protest because they don't like Elon Musk and they don't want to, like, you know, take part in this, like, sort of service where you give him money.
Right.
But Elon Musk just kept on giving him the tag for free. And then so he would change his name because that clears the tag, or it used to, when like the verification tag was supposed to be like meant to actually identify someone.
Right.
If you changed your like screen name, you would clear the tag because then you need to be verified as your new
There's a
identity.
new one, yeah.
Also, fun fact, way long ago, this guy from the Black Keys, I don't remember who, but he's from the band the Black Keys, changed his name to Justin Bieber. And was just, I don't know why he was pissed about Justin Bieber, but kept on making fun of him, saying he was as Justin Bieber on Twitter, and then
Right.
he lost his blue check.
what a way to go down.
But yeah, there's a whole circle with Drill and Elon, where he would change his name to get rid of the tag, and then Elon would give it back to him. It's sort of funny to happen in public.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like really strange things that now like you don't see a CEO of things normally doing. Like the whole him finding out that he actually like follows porn accounts on his alternate account. That whole thing that came out.
He has an alternate account where he's like pretending to be like a 10-year-old.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Wild.
And he keeps on talking about how cool Elon Musk is.
That's the best part. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, just absolutely ridiculous. There's also this one account, I wish I had this pulled up, where it's just this like woman that posts on Twitter and has Twitter Blue and ends up getting like $20,000 in 2 weeks, and posted like, wow, it's so crazy how much money you can make on Twitter, haha. And then a bunch of other accounts were posting their levels of engagement, which are like much, much higher than hers, and how much less money they get. So it's like, okay, I feel like Elon is just sort of purposefully giving this woman a lot of money.
Yeah.
Probably
by himself, like just
in some effort to seduce her or get her attention or something like that.
Yeah, because he's one of those guys where he's like, yeah, it's makes sense that guys should just have sex with everything and everyone on 2 feet.
Yep. Here's $20,000.
It's crazy to me, like the amount of just like people will take things just for fact. Like I studied psychology all throughout college, and I took some classes in it like throughout my education career. Like when I first learned about it in high school, you kind of just learned the basics, like especially back then, like Sigmund Freud, father of human psychology, and the modern psychology rather. And his things were just kind of like, this is how it is. Like everybody has this sort of, the Freudian slips they talk about. Everybody has this, I forget what the exact term is, like super ego, the underneath that, is wanting to come out.
I don't know what they are, but it's id, ego, and superego.
Right, that's the 3 levels. And that's what they kind of taught us, is like, this is how it is. This is how the brain works. This is how people are. And then I got into college in a few years and actually studying the major of it. And it's going to be like learning about Sigmund Freud again over. It's like, all right, but at this point, because psychology had shifted from the calling it mental illness to mental disorder model, there was kind of a big shift in the whole like DSM. I think it was in 2000 and pretty recent that they took homosexuality out of the DSM as a mental illness. Like there were big shifts in the last 20, 30 years in psychology that are still kind of rippling through. And one of the things you learn is like Sigmund Freud, like, yeah, he had a lot of, good ideas and theories, but 90% of what he did was all self-reported stuff on himself and all like other like self-reports that he collected just over cross-sectionally things. So probably not the most reliable things. Yet still people today will just be like, well, yeah, humans have this innate nature to bang everything and spread their seed. That's how the human psychology works. Like one guy thought that, and because he probably thought that himself. Like, well, why are we trying to put this to fact?
He's the first guy to say that he figured it out, I assume. Maybe not the first guy to say that he figured it out, but he like said that he did, experiments and stuff like that. And that's also sort of like with the ancient Greek people too, where it's like, they're trying. Like it's still important to like see like these old models,
right,
and like learn that this is sort of like how we tried to put things together and how some of that worked out and some of it didn't.
Exactly. And that's how the way of teaching it now, at least when I was going through it, is you kind of look back at that with the context of this is what it was thought to be at the time. These are the methods that he used during it. Whereas it used to be, this is how it is because this is the way it was done. And this is like, they figured out the answer sort of deal. It's like, you can't just, there's some sects of science, you can, like, throw the ball up, it's going to hit the ground. Like you can do all the physics equations in the world. You're never going to be able to prove that wrong. But with psychology, you don't really just come to an answer of like, yep, this is how the brain works. Everybody wants to bang everything. It's just like, what? Everybody wants to bang their mother, too. They just don't want to admit it. It's like, it's okay. Stop rattling this shit off your hip, dude.
I mean, a lot of like modern psychology, I feel, is decently separated from like neurology, where it's sort of hard to make that bridge. Like
sure.
you can get scans and stuff like that, and you can basically make a map of the brain where that like this is where certain things happen. But but you can't necessarily take an image of a thought
Exactly.
in a brain.
And that's where a lot of psychology, is what I've been told, comes down now to more pathology as opposed to trying to get to like the bottom of things. It's more just recording of, what the things are. There's no telling like what exactly schizophrenia is. You could just mark all the symptoms down, like see if somebody has a litany of the same symptoms and see all the overlap and make a very educated guess that you probably have schizophrenia, sort of deal. There's no like, you're seeing weird things and you are hearing voices or whatever. Well, that's a class, schizophrenia, guaranteed. Like, well, you also might just be like starving and abused by your parents, kind of deal, like left in a room, this child.
So I don't think you entirely know what schizophrenia entails, because that's not
hallucination.
That can be a part of it, but that's
right.
not like what it is.
Right, I was just kind of glossing over
Yeah.
it, like especially the old times when people were just like willing to be like, oh yeah, she's got the madness, sort of deal. Like especially with children, there was a lot of misdiagnosis due to just like taking the parents' word for it.
Yeah,
It's like with psychology in its history.
yeah. The history of women being upset for certain things, rightfully so, and then their husband's
too.
like, she's crazy.
Right, women too have the exact same folly of just being like, oh yeah, then whatever she says, whatever. We know what's right.
She's crazy. Put her on drugs.
Exactly.
Very bad. But yeah, a lot of, when it comes to a science that's like on the body, like typically it ends up like you're going to be looking for solutions, right? Like that's sort of like the nature of science, is that you have a question and you need to get an answer for it.
Right.
Maybe you'll understand something further, but like...
And pharmaceutical drugs played a lot into that when they kind of figured out that they could, like you were saying with neurology, like they can change parts of the brain. So they just kind of did that 2+2 of like, well, this part of the brain fires whenever you're having a panic attack, and this drug makes that part of the brain go down. So bang, bang, boom. Take that drug, no more panic attacks. And it's like, well, it doesn't get rid of the cause, it just gets rid of the, the effect afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's just, that backwards problem solving leads to the opioid epidemic.
The opioid epidemic was actually very purposeful.
Well, yeah,
it wasn't
making money, but I mean, it's just, became one of the causes.
Yeah.
People were able to get so hooked on it and being like, yeah, it's fine, that it just kind of slowly creeped in and nobody really realized because it was doctors giving out the medicine. That's what everybody thought was the answer.
Yeah.
Nobody thought there was a problem with it.
I think, a lot of these drugs end up, doing a lot of good. Stabilizing people, putting them into a space where they might be able to address these things.
Right.
Or, just holding off, like, particularly bad impulses.
Right, being able
their
to
own safety or
being
other
able to
safety.
center themselves and actually come to like a better work their way through it stage. Yeah.
Yeah, whole bunch of things. I
It's
don't
a
even know how we got onto the
complicated
topic of psychology, but
Elon Musk just wanting to bang everything.
Right.
Because that's people.
what drugs do we give him?
I don't know. I don't know if there's any drug that'll fix that. He needs his own like Neuralink. Just get his own that thing and that, and then just get a quick short.
Easy peasy.
Turn him off.
Apparently, Neuralink killed a lot of monkeys in their research.
A lot of monkeys, and that one guy who has to get like constant updates to it to make sure it doesn't like degrade.
That's fine. I mean, like that's not crazy because it's like a pilot thing, right? And
yeah, but
he's
you have
alive.
to get constant brain surgery. Constant like tuning in the shit in your skull. That ain't cool. That's a lot of doctor's appointments.
Yeah, I mean, they should be paying for it, right? If Neuralink's not paying for that shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is like part of the program is the thing. Like they put him through it, but still, like that's just I guess you are like you're dedicating your life to like having this thing. So it's like whatever, I'll do whatever it takes. Go to as many doctor's appointments, let them prod me as much as I want. But like, it's at what point is it getting too much? Is that the rest of your life? Like, are you just are those going to increase? Are they going to decrease? Like, if you're going to have appointments every day for the rest, like, at what point are you going to be like, shit, this ain't worth it?
Also, I guess the question becomes like, should that thing degrade? Does it put him worse off
Right, I was
than
going
he
to say.
was before? Because if that's the case, then obviously there's a big issue there. But like, if it ends up degrading and he just kind of goes back to the same level of function as he was prior to the Neuralink, then
I wonder if it's like swappable too. Like if they make the version 2.0, can they just put it in there? That's probably going to be part of the consideration. Like they might make it backwards compatible with whatever socket they put in his brain.
yeah. See, I'm all for like shit like that. If it's like, to restore function,
Right, to a
get
paraplegic
you
person.
back up,
Yeah.
to like where you've been in the past, or
Exactly.
make you like, even the playing field of like capability, for certain like nervous system issues and stuff like that. But like when when you start using that technology, which is definitely the goal from Neuralink, is to like do other stuff, to like have extra control over things, then it starts to become needed for certain things. Then there's pressure to do it when you are perfectly healthy in the first place.
Right, yeah.
And that's not something that I'm looking forward to, if
Yeah.
anything pans out from this company anyways.
I was going to say, that's the dystopian thing of, like, now we're all cyborgs, where, like, MLB pitchers get it put into their head so they can, like, precisely put pitchers now. So, like, the greatest pitcher in the world becomes one with Neuralinks, and now all these MLB pitchers got to get the Neuralink type shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we're leagues away from having something like that happen because, again, like you said, it's more about restoring functionality because I imagine it's a crazy amount of money sink. So doing it for anything other than, like, breaking medical bounds of science would be not worth it, you'd think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they did do the thing with one of the monkeys where it was like you press the button whenever you see something on screen, right? Mm-hmm. And then it, like, records that signal, and they have the thing in the monkey's brain. And it allows the monkey to press the button by thinking about it.
Ah.
So they remove the button, but when the thing comes up on the screen, he thinks about pressing the button. It reads that signal, and
can he learn like that, I wonder? Will he eventually just, like, forget about pressing the button and then won't be able to do it? Or will he, like, learn that, oh, I gotta
he
think
eventually
about
comes
this?
to a crossroads where he has to press a button in real life, but it's not hooked up to his Neuralink, so he just sits there and stares at it. Why doesn't this work?
Why doesn't this button work? I'm thinking about pressing it. Well, I do have another recurring segment because it's been a little bit. It's been just a bit. And I think it is time for another round of crimes that you did not commit.
Didn't do it.
You didn't commit any crimes. No single instance of drug trafficking or drug offenses. Not a single one. There's no plane full of cocaine, nothing dumped over, in the Cayman Islands in a trash bag, unmarked, nothing like that.
Actually true.
No petty theft. He has not been a robber. I think we might have already covered that, but just to double down on it, no petty theft. Not a single one. No simple assault or battery. Now, we didn't get to aggravated assault or felony assault. We might have covered felony assault. I don't know if aggravated assault is the same thing, but we'll just cover simple assault for right now. No simple assault.
I think the felony thing is just a different, like, modifier than aggravated.
Is it? Does it, like, gets you the 4-star instead of the 3?
Well, aggravated is sort of like, that's a description of, like, your mental state. Kind of like the differences between the murder charges, where it's like, did you
premeditated
kill him,
versus...
you kill him by accident? Did you do it in the moment because you were, incredibly impassioned to do so? Or did you think about this ahead of time and intend to do it with your whole chest? So, like, aggravated, I think, kind of falls in, like, I don't know, what's accidental assault?
I was going to say, if it's, like, the crime of the moment, does then felony just guarantee premeditation? Or is there a premeditated also pre-qualifier to assault?
I don't know. I'm just saying that I imagine that maybe if it's, like, a really bad assault.
Well, maybe someday you won't do those crimes and we'll look into it. But for now, you have only
I still haven't done it.
You haven't
That's
done
the
simple
important
assault.
part.
Well, we don't know if you haven't done those other assaults, but we know that you haven't done any kind of simple assault. You have not resisted arrest in any capacity, and you have not done some cyber crimes, including stalking or bullying.
Correct.
No crime whatsoever from this man. He is a clean slate individual. There's not a single ounce of criminal. The black stripe outfit that he wears and the black mask that he wears around, you might see him in on the streets. That's just
And the
his,
big burlap sack with a dollar sign
that's just
stitched into it.
That's just the going out gear. That's just what he wears. That's him. That's just Brig.
I actually
Can't
saw
judge him for that.
A burlap sack with a dollar bill stitched
shit,
onto
really?
it on the road one time. Didn't touch it.
I was just sitting on the road. There's cops waiting in the bushes. What are you doing with that bag? Where'd you get that from, huh?
I did stop. I did look at it. I did think about it. But I'm like, I don't even get to open this. It's probably just like a dead raccoon or something.
Yeah, right. It's just cops like with a fishing pole tied to it, like waiting in the bushes. Like, oh, we almost got him. Keep reeling it in.
Also, funny that I was never charged with resisting arrest because I've never been arrested.
Well,
No one's even tried.
Yeah, I was gonna
So,
say
like-
no one would even try.
Yeah. So
You're no resisting arrest, clean and free from that.
Yeah. Nice.
Did we talk about the thin brown line on the podcast yet? So
It
So there's all these different, flags out there where people like to have their different, what would you call, not social workers, but service workers, community service workers. So they're like, you have the thin blue line for police, the thin red line for firefighters. At the very bottom, the thin brown line for sanitation workers. I stand hard at the thin brown line. Fly that flag proud.
That's good. I like that. You could just start with a regular black and white flag, too, and then just decide who you want to support afterwards.
Yeah, get the Sharpies and just be like, all right, you're all vying for my attention now. Get like a brown and orange flag, because I don't know what orange is, but probably something maybe worthwhile. Maybe it's like postal workers. I don't know why postal workers would get orange, though.
Well, because, they already gave blue to the police.
Right, and they're also kind of blue. Maybe they just get, a different shade of blue. Maybe they get, the periwinkle or whatever.
The post office, they use, America colors, red, white, and blue, but it's kind of, predominantly white, I feel.
Yeah, the
white line is for the postal workers. Even the regular American flag has 50 white stars and...
That's true.
6 or 7 white lines.
Most people do for the red and blue for America. Everybody forgets about the white. That's the sandwich. That's the middle. That's the meat of the sandwich of this red, white, and blue sandwich. So white is the most American color. Stand with the postal workers.
Thank you, postal workers. So sorry all the money got taken out. Postal workers.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of federal employees, I guess, that are getting axed, eh?
Oh, going back to Elon Musk,
the good old Doge fucking thing.
Unbelievable. I saw that a couple weeks before the election from some meme coin accounts, and I'm like, that's so ridiculous. These people are delusional. And then it happens. They're making it, which is also kind of funny because it's the Department of Government Efficiency is only going to be around for 6 months.
Oh, really? They have a plan for that to be around for 6 months?
Yeah, it's a limited time thing.
So that's going to be a tornado of shit then. There's going to be a lot of big cuts.
Yep. It's 6 months to a year. I don't really remember, but it is a limited time that thing is going to be up. So I hope literally everything doesn't explode.
Do you see him jumping on stage making the X symbol?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of photoshops of him. I've seen a font made out of him.
A font?
Yeah, you have the X, and then you
just take his arms to make everything else.
These weird shapes.
He is a weird shape.
Yes.
Kind of like a fucking beach ball he swallowed.
Yeah.
It's really funny to see those guys, because there's guys who can be husky or even fat and overweight, but they usually have thick thighs, thick calves to match, thick wrists and things like that, because they move that weight that they have around. You can tell that's not Elon Musk. He's literally just a skinny stick stuck out of a beach ball. There's just nothing there. It's crazy. I don't know how you get that physique other than literally sitting around just having grapes fed to you all day type shit.
My only wish right now is that he renamed Twitter to be a lowercase I instead of an X.
Why?
Well, think about how he'd have to make that shape on stage.
I don't know. That'd be take his head off.
Yeah.
I get it.
But
and that's when he invents the fucking Futurama collars that he can just boop boop like Agnew himself.
Oh yeah, because he invents things.
Yeah.
Personally.
He's gonna find somebody out in Korea and then kill and steal that person, or kill that person, steal their ideas.
But yeah, the whole fact that the department is named after one, a meme, and then two, a meme cryptocurrency is so ridiculous. Now, granted, when Doge had its big bump, I did actually make money off of that.
Oh, really?
I saw a bunch of people talking about it on Twitter. I'm like, you know what? There's enough people pushing right now that I think that it's actually going to go up. I made $1,000, and I left, and I'm like, never buying crypto again. That was simple, quick. I did it. Yeah. I gambled.
There was a story I remember reading. I just looked it up. Apparently, a porn star had accepted her payment in Dogecoin, so it's becoming a legitimate currency. It was back in 2014, though.
I guess, yeah. Being a porn star, that's a legal profession, but prostitution isn't, for the most part.
Yeah, so, but if you're getting paid, then isn't? Oh, I guess the filming is the big part.
Yeah.
It's the whole Family Guy joke. Remember, if it's on film, she's an actress.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they had there were some like crypto ATMs that they were installing in some places, like Bitcoin ATMs.
I saw the Bitcoin ATMs. Yeah.
I don't know if those are still supported. I mean, especially because, like, isn't it supposed to be, like, super volatile? Like, right? Like, are you going to just convert some of that into cash?
Yeah, they usually do it at, like, the same way they do, like, Coinstar receipts and stuff. Where you just get, like, the thing that'll coupon scan to cash if places accept it.
But, yeah, it's so crazy because, like...
It's usually gas stations
It's
and
a
stuff.
dollar's still a dollar. Like, the thing, the price of the item is going to change, right?
Yeah.
But the dollar's the dollar.
Yeah,
if you
the
have
Bitcoin's
$40
always...
in there, you can pull out $40. If you have X amount of Bitcoin... how much you're able to pull out at one time
is dependent, yeah.
Is pretty variant, yeah.
That's the gamble. Maybe you want to hold, maybe you want to sell. I remember seeing, I think it was like a Netflix documentary of guys who were, they're like trying to expose all the illegal activities going on, like how Bitcoin funds drug dealing and things like that. And it was literally just a guy like, yeah, with a documentary crew following him around, like, all right, so got all this money, I'm going to go deposit it in the ATM, and it's going to give me a receipt for however much Bitcoin of the money that I put in. So it's not exactly like you withdraw from your Bitcoin account. It's a literal exchange. Like he puts in his, $100 in 20s and 10s, and then it just pops out however much Bitcoin that was.
I know someone that had to buy some Bitcoin to get fake IDs back in the day. Yeah.
Classic.
It's almost like completely unregulated currency that's untraceable by the IRS is meant for crime.
It's meant
almost
for
predominantly.
Almost made exactly for that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a wild story. That was it, like Satoshi Nakamoto is the guy who made it and then just like disappeared.
That sounds like sounds correct to me.
That's a whole story. I gotta send you a video essay on it. I watched it a while ago, but he was like the guy who started it was like kind of popular and like would talk to the community of people, and the whole thing, like you can trace whose wallets are whose with Bitcoin, even though it's supposed to be anonymous. If you get like the wallet IDs, then you can kind of get a picture. And they knew that like one of his wallets, because he was the founder, had something like 2 million Bitcoin sitting in it, like actual 2 million Bitcoin, not $2 million worth of it. 2 million Bitcoin, and then that account just went like quiet and dead and hasn't been touched in like decades. And I think there was a whole story of like it went active one time, but like no real funds moved from it. So people were like, "Oh God, is he still out there?" Type shit, because he just basically dropped the bomb and left. Like, cool. Have fun doing crime.
It's like a digital El Dorado.
Basically.
People trying to find their way into there.
Yeah, now that wallet, I mean, because the way it is, as soon as you get the keys for the wallet, even if you don't own it, that Bitcoin's yours. So
yeah.
So that guy's just out there with the keys to the kingdom, literally, like millions of Bitcoin. It's crazy. And he's just like this dark, mysterious figure who, like, even though he would talk to people, was anonymous on the internet, basically. They just know, like, I think a Korean guy. I might have that wrong. I'm gonna look it up now.
And Satoshi sounds Japanese to me.
It might be Satoshi Nakamoto. Yeah,
I've also definitely seen people claiming that his name.
It's a pseudonym.
It's a pseudonym, and when you break it down, it means like CIA.
Yeah, so that's what I was kind of getting at. Of maybe this was just like a whole government plant of starting Bitcoin. Maybe they're tracking it all.
Yeah, but that goes to the whole thing of like.
So
okay, perfect. We like put together this secret plan to take over the world and like completely change currency, and we can take control of it. Now to leave hints.
Yeah, right. I mean, they do that with all the other stuff. They do that with the Kennedy assassination and 9/11. So
well, I mean, that's
little hinty hints, little booba doops.
I'm sort of saying that that's not real.
that's I'm literally arguing. I think it was a South Park joke where like government forcefully pushes on conspiracies just to make people think that they might be some secret shadow organization when really they're just a bunch of idiots in a room. They're just like, oh, oops, is this another third plane potentially the picture of? Oh no, I'm gonna leave that here in the White House floor. I'm just gonna walk out.
I mean, we've also had situations like that with like enemies of America, like terrorist organizations. Like something bad happens in America, and they're like, "We did it. Al Qaeda planned it.
We did that."
Yeah, I mean, like, what? Now you're gonna arrest him? That's the line.
I mean, yeah. Once we figured out who, now we got someone to aim at, I guess.
They already did 9/11.
I mean, we were already aiming at him, but now we can aim at him with both barrels. I don't know. And just, most of that stuff too is just like, did they even do it? Like, it's all that stuff they could just claim. Like, Oh, yeah, no, that was us. We actually put a guy there months ago, and that guy that died, yeah, he was an agent of us. Definitely us.
I think
Big
it's
bad.
I think it's like pretty
Reality.
settled with 9/11.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, all the other things that they kind of just claimed to do. Did they really? Or could they were just like, oh, that? Yeah, that was us. Anyway.
Yeah, who knows?
Anyway, we're just going to get back to doing our shit over here.
Yeah.
I thought I had another note. I made it in like 2 separate things, so I kind of fucked myself over. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted. When I was rethinking the fast food like slogans, right? So we eventually start pitting the fast foods against each other, right? With all the slogans stealing, and then eventually we start an actual war between them, to where not like a legitimate post-apocalypse war, but like maybe employee poaching, you know, idea stealing, different things where it's like a very fierce, direct competition.
What level of employee are you talking about? Because like I don't think they care if like a cashier goes.
See, that's what I'm talking.
I
I want them to get to the point where like that's the margins they're caring about. That's how slim it's getting. That's how fierce the competition is. To where it gets to the point where like you have the nice McDonald's commercial showing the fries in the basket, and it's like, start your everyday off with our 2 for $5 value menu or our buy one get one meal. McDonald's, food's so good it makes you want to kidnap a Wendy's employee. It's just like
they get a discount if you present one.
Right, like something like that. Like if they're just like enticing you to like bash the other competition in some way. And like, obviously going so as far to kidnap would be like, no, you can't do that. Good job, good. Yeah. Like they're just McDonald's CEO like giving you a little reward for it, but has to publicly bash you. We don't resort to violence, kidnap more.
I think nowadays it's pretty rare to see any type of advertisement that's like mentions the competition, because apparently that's tended to like backfire on the companies that do that, because it does end up giving
the other brands more
attention. Yeah, so the other brands running ads for themselves, now you're running ads for them.
I see it
You're saying you're better than them, but they got more ads out there.
Right. I see it a lot with cleaning products still, where they'll do like, oh, these are the other leading brands, and they'll basically just be like the very noticeable like brand design, but just with the words taken out of the logo. So you're just kind of like, I know what those are, but if you're saying this is better, man, fuck it, fuck those other ones.
Well, that never works. I just assume that, like, I mean, but the thing is, they didn't put the name of the thing on there.
It could just be anything. They could just put water in there.
Yeah, any other leading brand, such as Great Value,
Yeah.
you know, it's a leading
Select.
brand, but like not particularly in one thing. It's kind of like a little bit of everything.
Right.
You get detergent, you get like knockoff fruit gummies. I mean, they're still gummies, I guess.
They make good pizzas. Signature Select / Great Value. I don't know if they're the same thing.
Signature Select is Jewel, and
Great Value
I
is
think
Walmart?
like Kroger brands, and then I think it is just Kroger brands, and then Jewel has another one. I'm not too sure, but Walmart is Great Value.
Gotcha.
That's their whole thing. Okay, they're trying to be cheap.
Yeah,
We're the cheap option. We're so cheap you can't have any other stores.
Good value. Yeah, you need a Walmart at every corner.
Yeah.
Choke America. Just choke all those mom and pop stores out of here.
Well, they closed a bunch of Walmarts in Chicago, like within the past couple of years.
Sweet.
Which, yeah, generally positive. They blocked the merger for Kroger and Jewel. That's something I was thinking about. So because they would have had a monopoly, aside from like Whole Foods. You know.
Damn. You see that the Jewel they're building? I think it's in like San Francisco, where they just put apartments on top of it to get faster coding for the building codes.
There's a Jewel. I thought Jewel was a Midwest thing.
I thought it was San Francisco. I could have sworn it was Jewel. Now you're making me second guess this.
I think
you're right. Jewel is like only in the Midwest. So
yeah, we got Jewel, and like the Southeast. There's like Food Lion, which was a weird one. I'm like, wow, and I don't know. Maybe they find Jewel weird, but Food Lion, odd name.
Maybe it wasn't Jewel. Maybe I just put that.
It's probably another like regional grocery chain. But this is the Cermak Marketplace that I would go to over on like Pulaski and I forget the other road in Avondale, which that one had apartments above it. Someone was telling me that apparently it's like an old warehouse or something of the like.
Yeah, I can't remember the where the video I saw was, but it was like a new one that like specifically they were going to build the store, and then they were like, oh, it's going to take like a year for the building codes and everything to get pushed through, so they put apartments on top of it, and because of it's like now a housing complex, that put it in a different category, and they made it go through like a little bit quicker.
That's cool.
It was neat. I was like, yeah, wow.
It's kind of a win-win because like you get to make a grocery store and you have to provide housing, and so we get more housing. So
and hopefully it's affordable. We can only hope, but yeah, it's
$1 million per month.
and then it's just all like actually storage for Jewel. Just never expect anybody to rent it.
Then you fine them.
Yeah, well, what are they gonna do? They made the housing. They're doing their best. It's not their fault it costs $1 million a month.
I mean, it is.
No, they hire some secondary company that charges them $1 million a month to assess the property. Don't ask who that second company's owned by. I think it's Amazon that does that. They have a company that like assesses their taxes and revenue earnings, but it's like a company that's in the like Cayman Islands or something like that, or in Panama. So like they basically charge them the amount of their quarterly earnings, and then just write that as a tax write-off.
Yeah. Oh, I remember they did.
Might be a little more complicated than that, but it's a very known thing that they just kind of skirt taxes that way.
Yeah, I remember in 2019 or one of those years, they actually ended up paying $0 in taxes, because they had like a bunch of tax credits banked, I guess. From because one of the more predatory things that or a predatory thing that Amazon does is that they'll undercut their competitors. So like the main case is like diapers.com, right? Online marketplace, you buy diapers for your baby. They sell diapers. And Amazon undercut them selling diapers at a loss until they went out of business and then raised the price again.
Jeez.
And so, but the fact that they sold it all at a loss for that amount of time, now they have losses in revenue.
Right.
Because they had the wealth, the capital to take that hit.
Right, to
take the loss, to get rid of a competitor, to raise the prices again, and say that they had a loss that also benefits them on their taxes.
Right.
So.
Shady business practices.
Yeah, I don't like this shit's legal,
That's the shit that made America, unfortunately.
Nah, the shit that made America was meat packers' fingers.
Getting cut off into the meat and getting served everybody?
Yep. There was this book. I didn't read it. There was like in high school we had like options for like certain like reading things, like summer reading. It'd be like 4 books. You get to pick one of them and then you read those, and then when you get back there's like a test.
Yeah.
One of them was The Jungle.
Yeah, I had to read that.
I think it was Upton Sinclair.
Yes.
And apparently the response to that was because like that was about Chicago meatpacking, right?
No, it wasn't about that. That's why the whole funny thing. Yeah, go on.
About like how bad the workers are treated and stuff like that, but it's about real stories in the Chicago meatpacking. It is about Chicago meatpacking, right? At all?
It is a part of the story, but the whole story is just how like the immigrants had moved into Chicago and just basically like move into the jungle. How it's this place that they're not sure of, and like there's a whole big different parts to it, like drama with his family. Eventually, his son like falls through. It's a lot of different aspects of Chicago, but the one that was the most horrific and strung upon by the public was the meatpacking plants.
I did know
where
that
he worked.
It was disproportionately like where the attention from the book went, as
it's
opposed to the
very
plight of the people.
Disproportionate, which is why it's so funny. Like it did a lot of shitty things about Chicago. People fell in the sidewalks and died. Like there was 9 people living in a room. They were like getting charged $100 a month for some dumb reason. Like people were getting exploited and killed, and nobody gave a shit. And also the meatpacking industry was really dirty. But they were really concerned about one of those points.
We read your book. We hear your issues. We'll stop putting fingers in the spam.
It was like, with all that shit, that's over their shit. I'm not falling through the sidewalk. I am eating cans of meat, though. That's a little, I don't fucking... Yeah. It was like really bad, though. They talked about how they would like, they'd sweep the floors at the end of the day and put all that stuff onto the line to like repack into cans.
Oh.
And like when they like someone lost their arm in the thing, they got him off the thing, made sure to fire him before he got off the campus, just kept the things going, put everybody back to work.
No,
so not only was like they're probably human meat, but everybody had to watch somebody die essentially and then go back to work afterwards. It was horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's only like, I think like a chapter and a half of the book.
That's crazy. Like I said, I never read it, but I knew that, yeah, it was about like, the plight of the people. And I thought most of the story was about the plight of the people as they work in a meat factory. Look at how poorly they treat us in the meat factory. But nope, it's just a chapter and a half.
Yeah, no, it's just the plight of the people in general, and yeah, the meat factory is part of it. Like I said, there's a lot of like horrible shit that happens to him with like his child dying, his eventually like other family move away and different things, and different people like rob him. It's very very dramatic book. The meat factory is an important part because that's where he works, and that's kind of like, you know, a recurring thing throughout the book. But yeah, it's not the most focused on part.
Well, now I know.
I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he gets robbed. Now that I said that, I've read like a total of 6 books, so I don't have too much book knowledge. So it's all just in one bag. I have to pull out that, Ender's Game, and Holes. Like the big 3 that I read in the beginning of high school.
I read a lot. One of the most important ones that I read, I felt, was Survival of the Sickest, which is a collection of like 4 essays about how like sort of evolution and like illness have sort of gone hand in hand and how it affects people. So starts with talking about this particular condition, hemochromatosis, which is an excess of iron in blood.
Okay.
So first off, this is actually a situation where bloodletting does help you.
Right, like
Because
using leeches and whatnot, like the actual old school like science of bloodletting.
Well, the old science of bloodletting was like you got to get rid of the humors and some shit
Right,
like that.
the poisons in your blood, the demons.
But like legitimately, like for hemochromatosis, like you just donate blood like once a month. That's your treatment.
Yeah.
To get the iron out.
Cool.
But apparently that was a trait that helped people survive the plague. Like the plague, the Black Plague,
Sure.
when you got it, like if you had so much iron in your blood, it actually made it harder for the plague, the virus to stick around in you, as opposed to...
And what are the symptoms of not bloodletting if you just let the iron build up?
That was in the book.
I'm sure it was, but
A quick Google, and then we can end on this note. But yeah, that was the main one that really stuck with me. It's like, let's see. Excess iron can poison organs, which can lead to cancer, irregular heartbeat, cirrhosis of the liver, diabetes, darkening of the skin, abnormal heart rhythm, arthritis. Iron can be dropped to safe levels by regularly removing blood from the body.
Okay.
So yeah, but that was one. That's the main example that I always sort of clung to. It was like, like 1, bloodletting is real. 2, some things that might make us ill actually allowed us to exist in the first place by allowing our ancestors to survive.
Yeah.
Similar thing with sickle cell.
Sickle cell anemia?
Sickle cell anemia makes you more immune to malaria.
Oh, interesting.
So, if you have ancestors that might have had to deal with a lot of malaria, you are more likely to have sickle cell.
Yeah.
Or to get sickle cell over the course of your life because they survived that and they were able to procreate and create you because of
the sickle cell, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
or maybe something like a little bit less potent than the sickle cell, and then the sickle cell is like a more
evolved in you sort of deal. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Cool medical facts to end us out here on CRT Cold Hard Trash, episode 27. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked this episode, be sure to rate and subscribe. Watch all our other episodes. Listen to them, too. If you want to watch them on mute, I guess I can't stop you, but you're kind of missing most of it. Anyway.
You will occasionally see, like, a thumbs up appear on the screen, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. If that's just, like, in your webcam, like, settings, like, hey, good to go.
Maybe I'll look that up later.
It does it, like, 3 or 4 times sometimes. It's a random amount. I don't know. But be sure to tell your friends about the podcast. Tell them it's the best podcast. Tell them it's the worst podcast. Tell them it's the most mid podcast you've ever listened to. Just tell them to listen to it also. Whatever explanation you got to make it work with.
Yup.
Bye-bye.
See ya.